Lieutenant Carson, and I think I should tell you that I've given a lifetime to comedy.
It was a quiet January morning in 2005. Johnny Carson was lying in his hospital bed in Malibu, California. The man who had entertained America for 30 years knew his time was almost up. According to a longtime backstage crew member who stayed with him until the very end, Johnny suddenly opened his eyes and whispered something that the man would never forget. He said, "You know, over all those years on The Tonight Show, I met thousands of stars, but there were 7 guests, 7 of the most famous, most beautiful people in Hollywood, who were, without question, the dumbest damn fools I ever had on my stage." Then Johnny smiled that famous smile one last time and closed his eyes forever. Tonight, I'm finally sharing what Johnny Carson only dared to reveal on his deathbed. His personal list of the 7 dumbest guests who ever appeared on The Tonight Show. Pull up a chair, grab your coffee, and if you love real, unfiltered old Hollywood secrets, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell, because what Johnny whispered before he left this world will surprise you. 1. Zsa Zsa Gabor, the Hungarian princess who forgot how to think. Let me take you back to a glamorous evening on February 12th, 1963. The Tonight Show studio was sparkling under the bright lights when Zsa Zsa Gabor made one of her many memorable appearances. She stepped onto the stage in a shimmering silver gown that hugged her figure, her thick Hungarian accent filling the room the moment she opened her mouth. Johnny, with his signature boyish grin, asked her about her 5th marriage. Without missing a beat, Zsa Zsa flashed a dazzling smile and replied in her signature breathy voice, "Darling, I never remember who I married last week." The audience erupted in laughter. Johnny could barely keep a straight face. Zsa Zsa's life was pure Hollywood excess. Born Zsa Gabor in Budapest, Hungary in 1917, she escaped war-torn Europe, moved to America, and quickly became the ultimate glamorous socialite. She starred in dozens of films, owned a string of luxurious homes, collected diamonds and furs, and walked down the aisle 9 times, including marriages to hotel magnate Conrad Hilton and actor George Sanders. She lived like a princess, always surrounded by luxury, servants, and scandal. But after the cameras went dark that February night, according to a longtime backstage crew member who worked with Johnny Carson for over 20 years, the real conversation happened in the quiet hallway. Johnny pulled the man aside, lowered his voice, and whispered with a mix of amusement and exasperation, "Zsa Zsa doesn't just play the dumb blonde on television. She actually is one. She genuinely doesn't understand half of what's going on around her." The crew member recalled Johnny describing how, during one visit, Zsa Zsa walked into the green room and asked in complete seriousness, "What is a script?" When someone tried to explain, she forgot the conversation 5 minutes later and asked the same question again. Another rumor that circulated quietly among the writers claimed that Zsa Zsa once mistook Ed McMahon for the nice man who brings the coffee and sweetly asked him to rub her feet right there on the couch while waiting for her segment. Ed, being the gentleman he was, politely declined while the crew tried not to laugh out loud. Johnny reportedly shook his head and said, "She's beautiful, she's charming, and she has the personality of a Ferrari. But there's no engine inside. You can look at her all day, but when you try to have a real conversation, you realize the car isn't going anywhere." This one still makes me chuckle every time I think about it. My friends, the glamorous Hungarian princess who conquered Hollywood with nothing but beauty, accent, and pure, unfiltered ditziness. If you're enjoying these shocking and hilarious stories from Johnny Carson's private list, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss the rest. 2. Charo, the coochie girl who never understood the question. Close your eyes and travel with me to October 8th, 1970. The Tonight Show stage was buzzing with energy when the tiny bundle of fire known as Charo bounced out, shaking her hips and shouting her famous catchphrase. Wearing a tiny, colorful flamenco-style dress and carrying her signature guitar, Charo immediately launched into her coochie coochie routine. Johnny asked her about her rising career in America. Instead of answering normally, Charo responded with a whirlwind of broken English mixed with rapid Spanish and endless coochie coochie. The entire studio was in stitches. Johnny laughed so hard he had to wipe tears from his eyes. Charo's real name is Maria Rosario Pilar Martinez Molina Baeza. Born in Murcia, Spain in 1951, she was discovered by legendary bandleader Xavier Cugat when she was just a teenager. She became his fifth wife, toured the world as a flamenco dancer and singer, and somehow turned the silly phrase coochie coochie into a worldwide sensation. She released hit records, appeared in films, and built a career on pure energy and sex appeal. But once the red light went off and the applause faded that October night, the longtime backstage crew member remembered a very different side of the conversation with Johnny Carson. Johnny waited until the hallway cleared, then motioned the man over. In a low, amused whisper, he confessed, "Charo isn't acting dumb for the cameras. She actually has no idea what's happening half the time." According to the crew member, Johnny described how Charo once spent nearly 5 minutes asking in complete seriousness, "Where is the bar?" because she thought The Tonight Show was the name of a fancy nightclub. Another story that circulated in the writer's room claimed that during a commercial break, Charo pointed at the big studio camera and asked, "What is that big camera that it takes in pictures?" When the crew tried to explain it was filming live television, she demanded they take a Polaroid picture with it right then and there. Johnny reportedly told the crew member with a chuckle, "She's incredibly talented, she's beautiful, she's full of energy, but talking to her feels like trying to explain quantum physics to a happy 5-year-old. You just end up smiling and nodding because there's no point trying to make sense of it." This story still gives me a good laugh every time I remember it, my friends. The explosive little Spanish fireball who stole America's heart with her charm and complete lack of understanding. If these behind-the-scenes stories from Johnny Carson's secret list have you smiling, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next shocking tale 3. Mae West, the 76-year-old sex symbol who still thought she was 25. Here's a shocking truth, my friends. Even at the age of 76, Mae West walked onto the Tonight Show stage, convinced she was still the hottest sex symbol in America. It was October 17th, 1969. The studio lights were dimmed just a little to create a sultry mood. Out came Mae West in a skin-tight, low-cut gown that left very little to the imagination. Johnny greeted her with his usual charm, but the moment she sat down, she started delivering her famous double entendres. When Johnny asked about her long career, Mae purred, "Come up and see me sometime, big boy," and actually reached over to pat his knee. The audience howled with laughter, but you could see Johnny's face turning red. Mae West's life was legendary. Born Mary Jane West in Brooklyn in 1893, she started in vaudeville as a child, became a Broadway sensation with her scandalous plays, and basically invented the modern sex symbol in the 1930s. She wrote her own material, fought the censors, and lived exactly as she pleased. Diamonds, fur coats, young lovers, and a famous pet monkey named Coco. By the late 1960s, she was already a living relic of a bygone era, yet she refused to act her age. But after the final commercial break and the lights came down that October night, according to the longtime backstage crew member, Johnny pulled the man into a quiet corner and whispered with a mixture of shock and amusement, "Mae doesn't just pretend to be sexy, she actually believes she's still 25. The woman has completely lost touch with reality." The crew member recalled Johnny describing how, right after the show, Mae demanded the stage lights be turned off so I can look younger, and then tried to flirt with a young stagehand by saying, "Come on, honey, let's go back to my dressing room and rehearse." When the young man politely declined, Mae reportedly looked genuinely confused and asked, What's wrong, darling? Don't you like older women? Another rumor that spread through the writer's room claimed that Mae once asked Johnny in all seriousness why the audience was laughing at her, because she thought every line she delivered was still as provocative as it had been in 1933. Johnny reportedly shook his head and told the crew member, "She's not dumb in the usual way. She's living in a time capsule. She genuinely believes every man in the room still wants her the way they did 40 years ago." It's both hilarious and a little sad. This one still makes me chuckle and shake my head at the same time, my friends. The original blonde bombshell who refused to let time catch up with her. If these jaw-dropping stories from Johnny Carson's secret list have you hooked, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss what comes next. 4. Raquel Welch, the beauty who couldn't keep up with Johnny's wit. What happens when the most beautiful woman in the world steps onto Johnny Carson's stage, but her brain simply can't keep up with his quick wit? Picture this. May 19th, 1976. Raquel Welch glided onto the stage in a tight white dress that showed off her famous curves. The audience whistled and applauded. Johnny opened with a clever compliment about her role in 1,000,000 years BC. But when he followed it with a sharp, witty joke about cave women and modern dating, Raquel just stared at him with a blank smile and said softly, "I don't get it." The silence lasted only a second before the audience laughed at the awkwardness. Johnny tried to save the moment by joking again, but Raquel kept responding with short, confused answers that made the entire exchange feel like a comedy sketch gone wrong. Raquel Welch's life was the definition of 1970s glamour. Born Jo Raquel Tejada in Chicago in 1940, she was a former weather girl who exploded into stardom with her breakout role in 1,000,000 years BC. She became the ultimate sex symbol of the decade. Posters of her in that fur bikini sold millions. She starred in huge films, married 3 times, had 2 children, and lived a jet-set life between Hollywood and Europe. Yet once the applause died down that May night, the longtime backstage crew member remembered Johnny pulling him aside near the green room. Johnny lit a cigarette and whispered with genuine astonishment, "Raquel is so beautiful it almost hurts to look at her. But talking to her is like trying to explain a joke to a very pretty wall." And the crew member said Johnny described how during the commercial break, Raquel turned to him and asked in complete seriousness, "Johnny, what does Neanderthal mean? Is it a new kind of face cream?" When Johnny tried to explain it was a prehistoric caveman, Raquel looked even more confused and replied, "Oh, so like the movie I was in?" Another story that quietly circulated among the staff claimed that after the show, Raquel asked a producer if she could borrow the teleprompter because she thought it was a magic machine that told her what to say. Johnny reportedly told the crew member, "She's stunning, she's talented, she's a movie star, but half the time she has no idea what anyone is talking about. You just smile and nod because you don't want to hurt her feelings." This one still gives me a good laugh every time I think about it. My friends, the ultimate beauty queen whose looks could stop traffic, but whose mind sometimes couldn't keep up with the simplest conversation. Subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. The next ones are even more surprising. 5. Jayne Mansfield, the blonde bombshell, who took everything literal. This is a fun fact, my friends. Jayne Mansfield was so beautiful that men literally crashed their cars just to get a glimpse of her. Yet she was so naive, she once believed the moon was made of cheese because someone told her as a joke. It was June 11th, 1964. Jayne Mansfield burst onto the Tonight Show stage in a skin-tight pink dress that left almost nothing to the imagination. Her famous 40-23-37 figure drew wolf whistles from the audience. Johnny teased her gently about her glamorous image. Instead of playing along with the joke, Jayne answered with wide-eyed sincerity, "Oh, Johnny, do you really think my measurements are that perfect? Should I measure them again right now?" The audience roared. Johnny tried to move on, but Jayne kept taking every single joke literally. Jayne's real life was pure 1950s to 60s chaos. Born Vera Jane Palmer in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania in 1933, she won multiple beauty contests, moved to Hollywood, and quickly became one of the biggest blonde sex symbols after Marilyn Monroe. She had 5 husbands, 5 children, including actress Mariska Hargitay, starred in dozens of films, and lived an extravagant life filled with pink mansions, pet chihuahuas, and constant tabloid scandals. But after the show that June night, according to the longtime backstage crew member, Johnny pulled him aside and whispered with genuine disbelief, "Jayne doesn't pretend to be dumb. She actually believes everything you tell her." The crew member recalled several jaw-dropping moments. During one commercial break, a writer jokingly told Jayne that Johnny's desk was made of solid gold. Jayne immediately walked over, knocked on the desk, and said loudly, "It doesn't feel like gold." Another time, she asked Johnny in complete seriousness if the applause sign above the audience was a magic light that made people clap. When Johnny laughed, she looked hurt and said, "But it says applause. Why aren't they clapping all the time?" The most famous rumor that spread through the NBC building claimed that Jayne once asked a stagehand if she could borrow the moon because she wanted to put it in her backyard swimming pool. When the poor man tried to explain it was impossible, Jayne replied, "But Marilyn told me she had stars in her eyes, so why can't I have the moon?" Johnny reportedly told the crew member, "She's one of the sweetest, most beautiful women I've ever met, but her brain works like a beautiful, empty perfume bottle. Everything goes in one ear and evaporates immediately." This one still makes me smile every time I remember it. My friends, the ultimate blonde bombshell who lived in her own pink, glittering, completely clueless world. If these hilarious and shocking stories from Johnny Carson's secret list are making you laugh, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss the final guests. 6. Buddy Hackett, the comedian who bombed his own jokes. Would you believe that one of the most famous comedians in America was so bad at telling jokes that even Johnny Carson had to save him from complete silence? It was March 3rd, 1972. Buddy Hackett waddled onto the stage with his usual big grin. Johnny introduced him as one of the greatest comedians alive. Then Buddy launched into what was supposed to be his signature routine, a long, rambling story about his Jewish mother. Halfway through, the punchline fell completely flat. The audience sat in awkward silence. Buddy tried to push through with another joke, but it was even worse. Johnny had to jump in and rescue the segment with quick one-liners just to keep the show moving. Buddy Hackett's life was a true rags-to-riches story. Born Leonard Hacker in Brooklyn in 1924 to Jewish immigrant parents, he started performing in the Borscht Belt, became a Vegas headliner, and starred in classic films like The Music Man and It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. He was known for his raunchy blue humor and had a long, successful career in nightclubs and television. Yet, according to the longtime backstage crew member, after that painful 1972 appearance, Johnny waited until the studio emptied and then whispered, "Buddy thinks he's hilarious. But he is, without doubt, the worst joke teller I have ever had on this couch." The crew member said Johnny described how Buddy would tell the same offensive joke 3 times in a row if the audience didn't laugh, each time louder than before. One notorious rumor claimed that during a commercial break, Buddy told a very crude joke about Catholics to a Catholic stage manager, then got genuinely angry when the man didn't laugh. Another story that circulated quietly was that Buddy once asked Johnny why the audience wasn't laughing and suggested, "Maybe we should turn up the laugh track louder." Johnny reportedly told the crew member with a sigh, "He's a nice guy. He's worked hard his whole life. But every time he opens his mouth on my show, I feel like I'm watching a man dig his own grave with a microphone." This one still makes me shake my head in disbelief. My friends, the professional comedian who somehow managed to bomb on the biggest comedy stage in America over and over again. If you're enjoying these wild and funny stories from Johnny Carson's private deathbed list, hit that subscribe button right now. We still have one more shocking name. Milton Berle, the man who thought he owned The Tonight Show. And now, my friends, for the grand finale of Johnny Carson's secret dumbest guests list. This man didn't just think he was funny, he thought he was the king of the entire universe. And poor Johnny was merely his warm-up act. It was September 14th, 1965. Milton Berle strutted onto The Tonight Show stage like he owned the place. The moment Johnny started to introduce him, Uncle Milty grabbed the microphone and announced loudly, thank you, nice to see you all. And nice to see you too, kid," while patting Johnny on the head like a schoolboy. The audience laughed, but Johnny's smile was already getting a little tight. Milton Berle, known as Mr. Television and Uncle Milty, was a true legend of early TV. Born Milton Berlinger in 1908, he started performing at age 5, became the biggest star of the 1940s and 50s with his variety show, and was famous for stealing jokes, wearing dresses, and having an ego the size of Texas. He once bragged that he was so powerful he could make or break careers. But according to the longtime backstage crew member, after that chaotic 1965 appearance, Johnny pulled him aside in the hallway, lit a cigarette, and whispered with pure exhaustion and amusement, "Milton Berle isn't just dumb. He's dumb with confidence. The man has the IQ of a potato, but he thinks he's Einstein wearing a dress." The crew member said the funniest and most painful moments happened when Milton kept interrupting Johnny mid-sentence. At one point, Johnny tried to tell a clever joke, but Milton jumped in, stole the punchline, told it wrong, and then laughed louder than anyone else. When the audience didn't react, Milton actually turned to them and scolded, "What's the matter with you people? That was funny. Laugh!" Another legendary rumor that spread through the NBC studios claimed that during a commercial break, Milton demanded to see the show's script because he wanted to improve it. When the producer said there was no script for talk segments, Milton replied in complete seriousness, "Then how do you know what to say? I always write my own applause." The wildest story came when Milton tried to take over the entire show. He grabbed Johnny's chair, sat down, and announced, "Now it's my turn to host." Johnny, trying to stay professional, had to gently pull him back while the audience howled. Later, Johnny whispered to the crew member, "Milton doesn't understand that this is my show. He thinks The Tonight Show is just a warm-up for the Milton Berle Show, which ended 15 years ago." Johnny reportedly summed it up best before he passed away. "Out of all the guests I ever had, Milton Berle was the only one who was too dumb to realize how dumb he was, and too arrogant to care." This one still makes me laugh every single time, my friends. And as the very last name on Johnny Carson's secret deathbed list, Milton Berle proved that sometimes the biggest stars have the smallest brains. Here comes the part that still gives me chills every time I think about it. According to the crew member who stayed with Johnny until the very last days, just a few weeks before Johnny Carson passed away in January 2005, the old host became unusually quiet one afternoon. He was lying in his bed overlooking the ocean in Malibu, staring out the window. Suddenly, he turned to that longtime crew member and whispered, "You know, I've been thinking about all those years on The Tonight Show. 30 million people watching me every night. They thought I had the best job in the world. But there were nights I just sat there smiling, while thinking to myself, my God, how did some of these people ever learn to tie their own shoes?" Johnny paused for a long moment, then continued with a faint, tired smile. "I kept a little list in my head for years. Not the funny kind, not the mean kind, just the honest kind. 7 names. 7 of the most famous, most glamorous, most beloved stars who ever sat on my couch. And every single one of them was, without question, the dumbest person I ever met in my entire life." The crew member said Johnny's eyes twinkled with that old mischief one last time as he added, "They weren't bad people. Most of them were actually very sweet, but Lord, the lights were on, but nobody was home. And the crazy part is, America loved them for it. The dumber they acted, the more they cheered. That's Hollywood for you. Johnny took a deep breath, looked out at the Pacific Ocean, and said almost sadly, "I never told anyone while I was on the air. I couldn't. People needed their idols. They needed to believe the stars were perfect. But between you and me, those 7 were the champions. The undisputed champions of beautiful, expensive, world-class stupidity." Then Johnny laughed softly, that famous dry laugh we all remember, and whispered his final words on the subject. "If they only knew how many times I had to bite my tongue, they'd probably give me another Emmy." The crew member told me that was one of the last real conversations Johnny had before he slipped away. And that, my friends, is the real twist. The man who spent 3 decades making America laugh had been secretly keeping score the entire time. He smiled for the cameras, shook their hands, told them how wonderful they were, while quietly thinking they were the dumbest bunch of fools he'd ever seen. Hollywood really is the greatest show on earth, isn't it? Whew. My friends, I don't know about you, but after going through Johnny Carson's secret deathbed list tonight, my jaw is still on the floor. So let me ask you the million-dollar question. Were these 7 stars really that dumb? Or were they actually geniuses for making millions of dollars while acting like they couldn't tie their own shoes? Zsa Zsa forgot what a script was. Jayne wanted to borrow the moon for her swimming pool, and Milton Berle thought he owned the show. Yet all of them became legends. So tell me honestly in the comments right now, who do you think was the absolute dumbest on Johnny's list? Write their name and one word why. Zsa Zsa, see him on. Jayne and Buddy, or anyone else. And here's the controversial part. Do you think Johnny was too harsh? Or was he just telling the truth that nobody else dared to say? Drop your answer below. I read every single comment. If you enjoyed this wild ride through Johnny Carson's secret thoughts, do me a big favor right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because next week we're opening another one of Johnny's hidden lists. And trust me, it's even more shocking than this one. Thank you for sitting here with me tonight, pulling up a chair and laughing along with these golden age stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay honest, and remember, sometimes the dumbest people in Hollywood are the ones who get remembered the longest. Good night, my friends. Sweet dreams. And try not to be too dumb tomorrow.